Tailored to You is a podcast where your host Taylor Doherty talks with individuals who fascinate her as she's inspired by the greatest gift us humans have to offer, our story. Each guest story is unique and tailored in its own way, and that's exactly what Taylor loves about them.
It's been such a great ride. Never ever would I have thought in a million years. And then what's so exciting is like every time we set a goal and we kind of work towards something and we hit it, and it's like, and then it just keeps happening, and then it just keeps upping the game.
I mean, I think, and also for us, maybe we'll manifest a different goal. But our big goal, what we set for ourselves a little while ago was we want to play when we want to play. We want to play our own music.
I didn't know how much control we actually had in our own destiny.
This is your host, Taylor Doherty. This episode is tailored to your second act with the Honey Empire. Kimberly Gianta and Yvette Frampton are teaching us that you can really pursue your dreams at any stage of your life. It may be your second act, or your third, or your fourth. Yvette and Kimberly are showing us that there is no limit. They crossed paths and shared their passion for music, and then started taking guitar lessons together, which then grew into many other endeavors that we go into. And now their band, the Honey Empire. As a young woman, seeing these rockin' women who are also moms and juggling 100 other things, chasing their dreams, it really is so inspiring. And so, we really go into all of that, and also the message they want to give their kids, listeners, especially women, how they tap into their own lives and what is happening in the world when writing music. Also, the pandemic really affected the music industry, and we talk about what the Honey Empire did to support. Please enjoy these rockin' badass women, Kimberly Gianta and Yvette Frampton of the Honey Empire. Anna Brennan is the connection through Kimberly. So when I first had launched my podcast, she called me right away and was like, oh my gosh, my friend Kimberly is in a band, the Honey Empire. And so I literally asked for your contact information right that moment. Your story is so, I think, inspiring and intriguing, especially being a female, content creator myself. Seeing, I think, females kind of take risks and push the envelope is something really great, and I love to see it. But I really would just love to learn more about how you all started, kind of your whole journey. And just, first of all, in 2011, this is when it all kind of began. Kimberly, you started taking guitar lessons. Did you always have a passion for music?
I actually played violin growing up and a little bit of piano. And I'm just a huge live music lover and music lover anyway. And so what happened was we had a mountain house and had a campfire, and I wanted to be able to play the acoustic guitar like at the campfire and have sing-alongs and whatnot. So that was really my only end game at the time. And so got an acoustic and started taking lessons. It was really just that simple. Yeah. And then the teacher I was working with at the time, he had kind of a showcase of sorts, like a recital. And he pushed me to do it. And I did one song, but it was with a full band, backup singers, the whole 9 yards. I'm not even a country music fan, but I did a Dixie Chick song. And I said, if you can get a fiddle player, yeah, I did Cowboy Take Me Away. And I was like, if you can get a fiddle player, I'll do it. And so I did. And then it was just all over. And I was like, all I wanted to do was learn to just keep improving in the instrument and singing. And then I met Yvette right after that.
You were clearly proud of that too, because we barely knew each other. Our kids had become friends at school, and we were at this party, and she kind of pulled me aside. She's like, look at what I did. She had a video on her phone of the showcase. And I was like, that is awesome. I love that. I want to do that. And so same thing. I had grown up playing piano, but I really hadn't played in my adult life at all. I started taking lessons from him too. So it kind of started there.
And that's what's so interesting too, is how you both met. Obviously it was your children that kind of brought you all together, but the end game was music. You both had a passion for music. And so I think that's so interesting. Also that you all started later in your life. Was that a message you want to give your children away? That you can truly find your passion at any time of your life?
Absolutely. It's my son, even this morning, I was picking him up from a sleepover from last night, and I told him what we're doing today. He said, Mom, I'm just so proud of you that you're such a good musician. He's 11. It's been such a fun ride. And I think I can use this. I know we both can do this at times and say, if they're afraid of something or they're nervous, say, you know what? We get nervous too when we get on stage, and we get nervous too when we put stuff out. And it's just good to push yourself. So I think it's a great example.
I think it's funny thinking about, I think the things that I am enjoying doing now are the things that I did as hobbies as a kid. They've all kind of come back. And so, there was a whole period of my life where I wasn't doing these things, or I wasn't making crafts, but then now that I have kids, I'm making crafts, you know, and it's like, oh, I love doing these things that I did as a kid. And so it's funny. It's fun to see it like to come back. And then also that our kids can know that all the things that they're enjoying now are things that they can also bring throughout their life too. So our kids play music too. And, you know, I don't know where that will go for them, but it's a skill and it's something that they can use as a creative outlet, no matter, you know, what they're doing in their life.
Totally.
I mean, well, I love to sing, but I'm not a very good singer. So I treat it as a creative outlet for myself. I'm in the shower singing. My roommate actually laughs. She says, I know when you're like feeling really accomplished, because I'll start singing. Like, you know, I'm like getting my work done. I start just, you know, singing whatever I'm listening to. But no, I think it's definitely such a great creative outlet. And just the fact that you all can do that together and show your kids, I think is just so awesome. But I really think it's interesting too, how you all started when you did your cover band Vine. So that was 90s music, mostly female rock band, the Cranberries, Fiona Apple, Breeders. Mm-hmm. Can you kind of go through like why those bands were so instrumental in Vine, that cover band? And if, you know, there were any other bands or female artists or artists just in general that were an influence to now the Honey Empire?
Yeah, I mean, I think what we realized, we were playing the covers. We were just learning songs, basically, to learn songs as we were taking these lessons. And I should say we started taking lessons together because at one point our teacher was like, oh, it'd be really fun to do some combos of you guys together, what you are interested in. So we started learning covers together. And we realized that the ones that were sung by male vocals were hard to sort of figure out what key to do them in. And sometimes if we adjusted the key to, you know, especially Kimberly's vocal level, because she's the lead singer, that it didn't even sound like the same song anymore. Because now, you know, so we started just saying, well, why don't we just try to focus on songs that were sung by women to begin with?
Yeah.
And, they'll sound more like that.
Well, every song that she would suggest or I would suggest was always 90s chick rock. I mean, right out the gate, I was like, let's do this 10,000 Maniac song. And then she said, let's do this Liz Phair song. And so it just kind of grew from there. And it was very obvious we had the same musical taste. And so that's kind of influenced the originals we've been writing as well.
And I was going to say too, because you said originally that, Kimberly, you said that you're not a big country, you know, music fan. So were you both just drawn to rock music in general?
Yeah, for sure. And we both started on acoustic and then we both transitioned to electric guitar. So it kind of just naturally went that way.
And like, how do you just learn? Like, I don't know. How do you pick up an instrument? Like, I am I'm musically inept. Like, I just can't. Like, I'm totally tone deaf. When it comes to instruments, that was just something I never did. So did that take a lot of time for you all to really perfect that skill?
Oh, for sure.
Have we perfected it?
We're not even close. No.
I love that you said that, Yvette. That's so
we are really 100%. I mean,
absolutely.
Yeah, we still have a long way to go. But I mean, even just learning how to become a vocalist, like I never sang, I was never in choir. I would just, like you, sing in the shower, sing in the car, you know? And so I actually did a ton of vocal lessons with a really accomplished teacher, and Yvette would come periodically because she does all the background vocals. But that was like, I don't know, 3 or 4 years of consistent vocal lessons. Like, we've come such a long way. If you could have seen, I'm so glad there's not video of us doing open mics back in the day.
I'll bet Chris has. My husband has.
He probably does.
Somewhere on his phone.
It was pretty bad.
I'll never forget the first day that I came to your house, because we did the lessons at her house and we sung together for the first time, sung in front of each other. I had never sung in front of anybody like that before either. So
I feel like we laughed a lot.
Oh yeah. It was like being completely naked.
Yeah.
Like, suddenly.
Well, I was going to say too, like, you have to have been nervous. I mean, that's really putting yourself out there. It's the most vulnerable. I think musicians are just so vulnerable, and, you know, taking those risks and first writing music. When someone listens to a song, I'm always, as a listener, like, oh, what's the meaning behind that? Are they going through something in their life? Or, you know, you always totally dissect what's going on. And so I think it's just so vulnerable. But then to also add on to the fact you have to go on stage and perform. I mean, there's so many different elements. So when it comes to taking those risks and writing songs, do you find that it does have a personal connection to your life?
Oh, for sure. Yeah. I mean, it's in the beginning, it was just, oh, we're just soccer moms. What are we going to write about? You know? And then, you know, things start happening in your life. So it's kind of it's a tricky balance, but if you're not vulnerable in your music, no one's going to relate to it, or it won't reach people. It won't mean anything to anyone. So it's kind of like, you just have to resign yourself to letting that happen.
Yeah. And I think also things just from the exterior world also were happening that sort of inspired us. The Me Too movement, when we just realized like there are these things that we were just talking to each other about, and we're really angry.
Right. So like I used to be a third grade teacher. And so I have all these whiteboards. And so I would come to rehearsal and politics or what was happening, and the Harvey Weinstein thing just happened. And we started writing things on the whiteboard of like things that happened to us or times we felt we were treated differently because we were women or things like that. And just kind of got ideas. And the next thing you know, we had I'm Out, that song. It goes the second song we wrote. And so, yeah, it's just finding what's compelling, what we can relate to.
Right. It's just so interesting too, that you kind of tap into society and what's happening just in everyday life, not just, what's happening with you personally. But then when it comes to writing creatively and kind of also going off of each other, when you add bandmates, I think that can kind of also be interesting. Like when you added with the Honey Empire, a couple of additional members, how do you know who to work well with musically and collaboratively? Or is it just kind of like a gut feeling?
It's total chemistry. It's no different than dating or becoming friends with someone, or do you know what I'm saying? Like you just know if you have a good chemistry or not. Like I knew right away, we knew we played off each other really well. And then I
think we also have things that complement each other, and that work really well.
Yeah.
So, things that I'm missing, I feel like you bring to the table.
And vice versa. Great. Yeah. I mean, I could never play the stuff she's playing on guitar. There's no way. She's a lead guitarist. That's her jam. And those lead lines are really hard. And I don't know that I could pull that off. So, definitely.
Even just creatively, and I would say this with the other members of the band too, I feel like, because there are days where like, I personally, I'm like, I have no creative juices today, but it's great because we come together and then suddenly somebody else, like their creative juices are flowing that day and it sparks something. And then we all start working together and it all kind of goes from there. And for me, that has been something that I've really appreciated and sort of learned from this, because I've done creative work in other ways in the past, but it always just kind of more solo. And when I lose that energy, the project might just never happen. But I feel like the fact that we're working together and that it's a collaborative process, it keeps the ball rolling, and it's really great. It's been instrumental in getting all this stuff done. I feel like we've gotten so much done because of that.
Yeah. I think that's so interesting though too, because someone who's so not in the music world, I just am interested in like the music industry too. And like when you're in the studio, what was it like your first time being in that studio, recording your first album, especially as, women and your other bandmates who just truly, this was kind of new.
It was kind of an out of body experience, and we just couldn't believe we were there. It was like legitimate, music studio. We have sound engineers and all the equipment, and it was exhilarating. It really was.
I was really grateful that we had people who knew what they were doing.
Yeah,
I had no idea what we were doing. So they told us, each step of the way, okay, now you're going to go into this booth and we're recording this part, and you're going to, and otherwise I would have felt really clueless.
Yeah. Like I didn't know that we're going to, lay down these tracks first. Like we're going to record the drums first, and then we then we add the bass, then we do the guitar parts. And then like the vocals were a whole different thing. We went back.
A different day.
You're in a different room, you're in a different booth, you're a different engineer. Like it's a whole nother thing. And then the mixing and mastering process was really interesting too.
Yeah.
And there's so much that goes into even just one song. Like the song we released over quarantine, we actually mixed and mastered remotely via Zoom, which was a crazy experience. We just finished recording the vocals. Like I think it was like March 12th or something.
Yeah, we were talking about buying toilet paper.
I was ordering toilet paper off Amazon in the studio. Yeah. And we're like, is this really happening?
So relatable.
This isn't happening,
that's funny.
And it was just under the wire. But I think we spent, I would venture to say like 5 or 6 hours just on the specifics of the mixing and getting all the levels exactly right and how we want it to sound. And this guitar part was better on that take, splice that in. It's a lot of detail.
And it's, I would expect, there's so much that goes into it, but then even too, I know you're mentioning your single that came out, So Long, My Love, was released in April 2020. And so can you kind of describe the creative process when writing this song? And also it was your first single. So was that different? When you write an album, do you feel as though each song kind of has to have a connection, or now with the single, it's kind of its own little baby?
Yeah, that is interesting.
Well, so I think the first album was more just that we had written enough songs to make an album.
I would love to say we had 40. We picked the best 7, but that's not the case.
Yeah. It wasn't like the White Album where there was a whole concept to it.
No.
And it is funny because we are just starting to talk about that now for the second album that we're working on, because we have this single, we have another song that's pretty well cooked. And now we're adding more songs to it. And it's kind of like, how do we want this whole album to kind of come together? I think we're being a little more intentional and thoughtful about the second one. Just the first one really was us experimenting and just trying to write a bunch of songs. And so the single just happens to be the first one, I guess, that we wrote for what will be the second album. And we released it because that's what we had at the beginning of quarantine.
We had nothing else to do.
Right.
So we're like, everyone's sitting around doing nothing. So maybe you'll actually listen to it.
Yes. No. And I mean, I think it's awesome. It's such a great song. When it comes to also songwriting, I was really drawn to your song, Sea of Wine. I just, that one had the lyrics. Wait, why do you think that's funny?
I'm like, that's everyone's favorite.
That's everyone's favorite.
Really?
You ask anyone, like, what's the best song we've done so far? And they're always like Sea of Wine. I mean, if you look on Spotify, it has by a landslide the most listens.
And I saw that too. I saw the most listens and I almost was like, oh my gosh, am I going to be the stereotypical listener? But as I kept listening, there was this one lyric that I was just really drawn to. And I'm going to read it off to you all. I mean, you guys already know it. You created it. But it said, dance in the streets, keep the beat, don't take the back seat. Life is a stage, so stay in the front row. Which also, anyone listening, please go listen to Sea of Wine on Spotify because I completely butchered it. They sing it way more beautifully. But that line, how I interpreted it was, you know, you have one life to live, go out and rock it. Is there another way that you would interpret it? Or how, I guess, what was your message?
Well, the origin of that line was from something I read a long time ago in high school, and it talks about how your life is a stage, and there's some people that should be in the front row. There's some people that should maybe be in a back row, or someone should be in a balcony, or maybe not even doesn't have a ticket at all.
Oh wow!
So that was where it came from, and I think the messaging was just to like, you want to keep staying in someone's front row because you have a connection, your things are going well or whatever.
It's funny because I think I've always interpreted it more the way Taylor did.
Yeah, I know. That's just how yeah.
Like put yourself out there and like stay in the front
So
row.
that's what's the beautiful thing about this is I love the interpretation that you had. And that's why you want to make your songs kind of loose and not too literal. So everyone can kind of take what they want from it, even if it wasn't my intent when I wrote the lyric.
And that was why I was curious because that was what I took from it. And I'm just curious. I know the artists, there's always going to be a subliminal meaning. So I think I love the fact too, like you mentioned, especially with movies, anything creative, the listener can perceive it how they want to. What is a message overall that you really want your listeners to take from you all?
I mean, I think one aspect of it is definitely the female empowerment message. We want to have songs that are strong. We want to have songs that have a good message and have some power behind it. Just being, like we've talked about, like being vulnerable.
I mean, I think we want people to like the music.
That would be good.
Listen to
Yeah, that would be number one.
And then, and at the same time, I mean, if people want to sort of take that we're, these early midlife moms.
Yeah.
But, try, or second act kind of thing where, you can do anything you want with your life. And if there's something that interests you, like, why not go for it? Just try it.
I know so many women who have just had like a total shift midlife when their kids are getting a little older, and someone might get into some sort of visual art or jewelry making, or I have a friend that started an art consulting business and is killing it. I mean, it's really inspiring to see, especially women who've, we've done the thing where we've had to give up a career to be home and raise the children. And then now what?
Yeah. And it could be anybody too.
Anybody. Yeah.
Anybody can decide
Obviously,
to start over and just say, like, if they're not completely fulfilled in how they're using their time, find a way to do it. Yeah.
And I think that now what question comes up, at least at some point in everyone's life. So it's kind of what you do with that question. And I think you all clearly, you risked it. You're doing such amazing things. So I think it's really great to see. And that's why I actually find myself having more women on my podcast. I've realized as of recently, I was like, wow, I have more women. And I think it is because obviously everyone has such amazing stories, but I'm so drawn to being a woman myself and trying to find my passion and move forward with it. I think just seeing other women doing that, I think just makes me want to do it even more. So thank you. I applaud you all for doing that. Truly. It inspires me.
Yeah. And I think in general, women are figuring it out. There have been certain traditional roles that everyone in society was, sort of meant to play. And so everybody's figuring it out, whether you're a man or a woman. A man can be a stay-at-home dad. And, everybody's just, you can do whatever feels right. We also want to always recognize and acknowledge that we know that we're lucky to be in a position to be able to do this, because there are people who might not have the opportunity to, follow their passion with as much time as we have to be able to do it. They might have other commitments that are keeping them from doing it.
Mm-hmm. And that's such a great point too. I mean, there's so many, everyone's juggling 800 different things in their life. I'm curious because you had said, Kimberly, you were a third grade teacher before. Mm-hmm. Yvette, what did you do before this? Or are you guys both still doing those careers? Are you managing both?
I mean, I like to say I'm still a filmmaker. I haven't completed any project in a while, so it's kind of a past life in a way, but I was a documentary filmmaker, and I used to teach at University of Colorado, Denver.
Wow.
Film school. It's sort of in the film world.
My sister actually is a filmmaker and short filmmaker in Chicago. And so just kind of watching that whole filmmaking process and her talk about it and having that light about filmmaking, or also too, whenever a new movie's out, we're going to see it. I know all about the new movie, but I think that's so awesome. And so you're just creative in all aspects. So was it different going from the film world to now the music world? Did you see a connection?
A lot of similarities. I mean, it's because for me, both have been a personal creative process and just trying to figure out something within myself. And it's to go back to what we were talking about earlier and being part of a collaborative group now instead of trying to do it more solo. One of the things that would happen to me before is I would finish a project as far as I needed it to go. And then I would sort of lose the momentum to put it out there for anybody else.
Yeah.
At some point I'd feel like, well, it fulfilled what I wanted. And so now it's just mine. And then I wouldn't take that extra step. But now that we're working together, I'm loving that we're putting all this music out, which is something that I didn't really do that much with my other endeavors.
Yeah. Yeah. I think putting it out really legitimized the whole thing that we're working on. Because in the beginning, it kind of felt like, who do I think I am? Getting up on stage, I have kids, I'm old, what, it kind of felt silly.
No, you're a rock mom.
But now it just feels much more like we have ownership. We've actually written the material. This is ours. I'm not just, we're not just covering someone else. And so it feels really good to have that behind us.
I thought that same kind of question, who do I think I am? Is anyone even going to listen to this?
Right.
And it's totally one of those things that once I launched it, I was like, you know what? I'm just so happy I did it. That's such a liberating feeling.
Totally. I love that you're doing this too. You're putting yourself out there in the same way, and you're out there reaching out to people and meeting interesting people. And I think it's great.
Oh, yeah. Thank you. And honestly, to that point, Yvette, it is so fun meeting people. I would have never had this conversation with you all or even really known, now I know about the Honey Empire. I'm telling my friends about it. My boyfriend was actually just listening to it in the living room before I did this. We were talking about the songs. And I think that's just what's so fun about this whole process in general is just, and I'm sure you found that too with being in this, now the music industry, you probably met so many amazing people that you wouldn't have had before, even your bandmates.
It's been huge. Yeah.
And it's opened up a whole new world for me here in Denver, just locally. I mean, just knowing, I love the people that we've met.
It's been really good. It's an amazing music community here for sure.
I mean, the pandemic has affected the music community. I mean, every industry, lives, it's been really tragic, but you guys did something really amazing during quarantine, and you actually held a fundraiser, and you had raised over $20,000 so far. And so that was for the Colorado Music Relief Fund, because you teamed up with another band, Wilderness, and that was really something you all wanted to do. So do you plan to continue to provide that relief, for the music industry, maybe hold another fundraiser?
Yeah, we would love to. We've talked about it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
People loved it.
Yeah. It was a great evening. And I think people were just so happy to see live music to begin with.
Yeah.
We did it in a safe way outside and tried to, make it though feel as intimate as possible too with the people who came. And Wilderness was amazing.
Amazing. Yeah.
I think it'd be great to be able to continue and do more.
Yes. Maybe in the spring.
Yes. And I think it's just so awesome that you all did that. I know that the industry has been affected, but how did it affect the Honey Empire specifically?
Yeah. So we did get that one song out in April, So Long, My Love. And then we were kind of brainstorming, how can we start rehearsing again? Because you can't be 4 people in a room with, I guess you could with masks on, but it's really hard to hear.
Well, yeah, I was going to say, I feel like how could you sing with the mask on? It'd be so muffled.
So we've done that. We actually have done that.
Oh my goodness.
We performed that way in August. Yeah. But, so we started rehearsing in my backyard, And then that moved into, I have this extra garage with 2 doors that open so we could have ventilation. And that was working well for a while until someone called the cops because we were too loud. So we've had to get
Get those teenagers out of the garage.
Yeah, seriously.
That is amazing. Oh my God.
So, I mean, we'd have to, and the cops were so great. They were like, we'd love to have you continue. They're just going to call again. So
The cops were like, wait, this is the Honey Empire? They're like, can I get an autograph real quick?
I give him a sticker.
we gave them stickers.
Yeah. Oh my God, I love that. I'm trying to make stickers, so I'll have to ask you all how you did that.
Oh, we love our stickers.
Yes.
So we just had to get creative about how to get together and how to rehearse safely. And then now we're just thinking with, winter coming and having to be indoors, we're going to really focus on writing essentially.
Yeah. And hopefully we'll have something to show, when we all come back, we'll have created stuff in the meantime, which would be great.
And we have a show in January coming up. I don't know what that's going to look like, but we're still booking shows. It's just inside with masks. We did one in October behind plexiglass, which was interesting.
That was funny because, so I thought we'd have masks on there too. And
no crowd surfing.
No. And they said, oh, well, as long as you're, 6 feet apart from one another, you can take your masks off. And we just have this plexiglass. And we were like, great. And then the moment we started playing, I realized all I see is my own reflection, 2 feet in front of me.
It was so distracting. I just kept looking at my fingers and in the reflection. It was terrible.
Which was actually is funny. I was watching a video recently, and I think, again, here's my pop culture plug, but Paris Hilton was talking about how when she does photo shoots, she puts a mirror behind the camera so that she can know what she looks like and how she's, essentially performing in front of the camera. And it's interesting that you're like, that was too distracting.
I was worried because I was looking at my fingers too, because then I could suddenly see all my friends. So I didn't have to look down. And then I realized does it look like I'm just dead staring somebody in the audience?
I know,
without
it was
knowing?
so weird. It was really weird.
But honestly, too, when it comes to music in the pandemic, I would walk around my block in Chicago, and there is this one group, these 2 boys who would perform, and it was every Thursday, and they'd, people would, be safely 6 feet apart with masks on. And then I was noticing as I kept just walking further around the city, because truly, what was there to do? I was just walking around, and there was more bands who were doing that. They were doing outside kind of small neighborhood shows. And I just thought and it kind of was a moment for me. I was thinking to myself, this is just so cool because this would never have happened. I just think that people have found such a great way of handling the situation, just like how you all did the fundraiser, are now finding more time to write. So I don't know. I thought that was really cool. And it's just, fun to see neighborhood people. Also,
yeah, we talked about doing some sort of block party kind of idea. It just kind of never came together because as soon as you start planning it and then someone will say, well, we're not sure if this is safe. And, so it's tricky. There's a lot of hoops to jump through to make that kind of thing happen.
Don't want to be the one to start something and then it becomes unsafe.
Yes.
We were holding our breath for 2 weeks after our event, just thinking, please, no one got sick.
People were good.
People were very respectful. Yeah.
That's so true. You don't want to be like the scandal.
Right. Kimberly and Yvette had a concert and everyone got sick. Yeah. We were so afraid of that, but luckily it all went okay. Yeah. But actually what's interesting too is Wilderness, the band that we played with at that event, they did something really cool. And during the actual quarantine, they got a flatbed truck with a generator and they kind of were like a moving concert and they would go to different neighborhoods and just stop and play and then go on to the next neighborhood, which I thought was so creative.
Yeah. That truly is.
Thinking outside the box right now, I guess, just how we can continue to play.
Getting the creative juices flowing. Speaking of performing too, you guys did perform at the TEDx Cherry Creek Women Bold and Brilliant event in January of last year, which I think was so amazing. And I actually read that, and I'm actually just going to read it off because this really resonated with me. That when TEDx was talking about you all, the Honey Empire, they said, as musicians, they share their stories through original music and have had to develop a strong tolerance for risk. Being as vulnerable as writers is a risk. Performing live is a risk. Everything about being in a band is a risky adventure. And the Honey Empire aims to capture this spirit each time they take the stage to perform. And so I thought that was just so cool. I know we kind of touched on earlier, taking risk. You guys are totally doing that. And so what are your thoughts when it comes to just that statement specifically and taking risks, especially as a female, led rock band in a male-dominated industry, from my perspective, at least?
Yeah. I mean, it's funny when I've actually sometimes look online to see artists that I like and watch them perform just to kind of get ideas, because you really are. It's not just playing music. It's not just singing. It's a performance, right? And that's my Achilles heel, because I have so many things I'm thinking about up there. It's like the one thing I really want to get better at is how to really have a good stage presence. And in that, or even just seeing like what would other female rock stars be wearing for a show, just to get ideas, because I love fashion.
Yeah,
and
same.
So I'll look at like Gwen Stefani, I'll look at Grace Potter, and then I start running out. I'm like, who all's doing the indie rock thing right now that are female driven? I end up looking at stuff from the 90s, because there's nothing. I mean, I'm not saying there's nothing, but there's less happening right now.
Well, I just also think that what we have gravitated toward is less pop music and more rock music, and there isn't that much guitar led rock music going on
happening right now in general.
So, yeah, so maybe we look back at those people for that reason.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah.
And that's so funny too, because when you were talking about, fashion and women who are in the rock band, Gwen Stefani was the first one I thought of. She's iconic with her outfits.
I know. And she always goes for it. And I'm always, she knows I'm always it's like WWGD. Like, what would Gwen do? It's like, what would she do with her hair? Oh, I'm going to try that. But that's so true. There is that is a very fun part of this, I have to say, is the whole glammy, like, it's so fun to figure out what we're wearing and what we're going to, it's just,
to make sure we're not wearing the same thing
constantly. Like, I literally walked in today with a jacket just like this.
She's not wearing it because I was wearing
Oh my God.
Yes,
that's amazing.
Like, we'll go to rehearsal and the boys just crack up because we always walk in with almost the same exact outfit on. But it's just fun to play dress up too. We have photo shoots and, performances, and it's a blast in every way.
Yeah.
Well, and like the musical taste, I mean, clearly that transcends into your all's fashion taste. So you guys truly capture each other's every day. For example, on your website or a lot of your promo, the photos are amazing. And I love to see, I was going to say, your outfits, everyone just looks so fierce. I don't know how to put it, but like the pictures just have this presence of like, I'm here. Like that was like what I got from it. I thought it was no, of course, I thought it was just so dominant, if that makes sense. And so kind of, we were just talking about too, your just other female rock bands and inspiration there. Are there other inspirations? I know we talked a lot about earlier, the ones that you tapped into when it came to the Vine, but are there any artists right now that you're really inspired by?
So a lot of the way we write is to have a song that exists that we really like, and then listen to it and then kind of rewrite it, if you will. So kind of get inspired by the form, or meaning like, what's the pattern? Is it verse, chorus, verse, or is there an instrumental break in the middle? Just it gives you a place to start. And then the end result is nothing like the song you started with. And so like one of the new songs, a song that inspired one of our new songs for the new album is a song called Alligator by Of Monsters and Men. Like, I just loved everything about that song. And so it kind of helped give us a starting point, and then the end result you would never know was inspired by that song.
Yeah. Well,
that's so interesting.
You can't not mention Bob Schneider.
Oh God, I know. I kind of have an obsession with Bob Schneider. I don't know if you know who he is, but he's a Austin-based.
Every music set, like we're gonna write. Kimberly Watson. She says, "Well, first we're gonna listen to a song by Bob Schneider."
Oh
Guys,
my goodness!
Yeah. So like one of his songs got me started on Sea of Wine.
Yeah.
And so it's just a love affair.
And then
It's a love affair. I love that.
Okay, Bob's happily married.
Yeah.
But
and then like I love the Pixies. And
yes.
So like and so actually it kind of works again like in a complementary sort of way where she, you have like Sea of Wine. Actually, some of that guitar line, in my mind, comes a little bit from Pixies too. So it's like a Bob Schneider, and just bringing together two totally different ideas and modes of music that it, hopefully comes together in a way that works.
Yeah.
Which is clearly what makes it work so well, is you do have those different, interests and types of music. And so something too, like when you go, let's say you go on Spotify or you go to wherever you listen to music, do you listen to only rock, or is there certain music that, like, I know you say you don't like country, Kimberly, but will you listen to, like right now, will you listen to Cardi B?
Oh, I listen to, oh my gosh, I have wallpaper in my house that's called Brooklyn Twal, and it's like Biggie is on there. Like, I love hip hop.
I would have never expected that. Wow.
Yeah. And like, we have teenage daughters, so we listen to, obviously all the stuff that's on the radio right now with them every day. Yeah. But I love the Beastie Boys. Like so I have a long history with all of that, listening to that kind of music. And then, I don't know.
I like everything.
Everything,
honestly. I
really.
do.
We go to so many shows typically, and we go together a lot, or we take our kids. We see typically in a normal, year, we would see a lot of live music. And so it's kind of all over the gamut.
When you guys are performing live, can you kind of describe that feeling, being on stage?
So I get the way I was so very nervous. And then every time we're done, I'm like, can we just do that one more time?
One more time.
Let's do the whole thing again. And then we'll really do it.
Right.
Because I think we're getting better. I'm not, but, it takes a few songs, at least for me, to get over the nerves and, and then really start enjoying it while I'm there. So that by the time we're done with the set, I'm actually starting to really enjoy myself. And then
it's
over.
Right.
That's how I feel about this too.
It's really, it's so weird. You get up there and you're just a wreck. And then, cause I'm a perfectionist anyway in other areas. And so all I want to do is execute correctly. But that doesn't translate well because people just want to see you having a good time. And it's like, we try to remind each other, like the reason we're doing this is because it's so fun.
It's supposed to be fun.
It's supposed to be fun. It's not supposed to be stressful. And I'm up there and I'm just like, what if I forget a lyric? What if I play the wrong chord? What if I, put the wrong pedal on, or, these things are running through your head, and you have to just trust that you have the muscle memory and you've done the work. And that's what I try to do before we get out there is think, I've done the work.
Yeah. We rehearse a lot.
Like I know the material, it's going to come out. It's all going to come out. It's going to be fine. Just enjoy it. We're trying to get better too about connecting with the audience and, talking in between songs and sharing what songs are inspired by or what they're about. Cause we try to think, what do we really love when we go to a show? What do we really?
It's really about connecting with people. And so if we're too nervous or we're not sharing things about the music and really having a conversation with the audience, it's not as enjoyable.
Yeah.
For them.
Yeah. Right. Well, and we are so blessed to be working with such high caliber musicians that totally elevate our game in every way. I mean, I can't even imagine it was just the two of us up there, but they're so great and they're so in their zone and they're up there and they're
like total professionals.
Right. And we watch them actually have fun. Like our drummer is so funny. Blake, he'll just like jump off the drum throw and like in the middle of a big part in a song, and they have fun up there. Yeah. So it's kind of a good reminder to us to like loosen up, ladies.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. No,
they're having fun.
They're having fun. Can I join you, please? Can I have fun with you?
They're just they're such professionals that they don't have to even think about it. I mean, they just know what they're doing. Yeah. And whereas, we're still kind of new at this. So,
but I think that's awesome too, that you kind of acknowledge that as well, that because I think with anything, what you were saying too, Kimberly, about being a perfectionist, I totally am too in some ways in my life. And this is one of them that I try to let go of that control. So do you feel as though when it comes to music and for both of you and even just the band in general, that you try to just what's out of my control is out of my control. Let's just enjoy the night. Or when it comes even to songwriting or being in the studio, if something doesn't go your way?
I will say with their songwriting in particular, it's really hard to know when to call it. Like, okay, we've changed enough, we've tweaked enough. Like, I think this one's done, because you could always make it better. And I'll listen to the album now and I'm like, oh, I should have done something differently in that one. Or I wish I had sung it differently. Or, and you just have to know when to stop and just say it's good enough.
It's exactly the same with a film. And I remember I was a painter, somebody talking about when do you know you've made your last paint stroke on your painting? Yeah. Mm-hmm. You could always do something else.
And what's cool is too, when you get in the studio, a lot of times some great ideas will happen like when you're actually recording it and will be written on the fly. Like we've changed things on the fly. Like the whole end of Song Long My Love, when there's like a back and forth between the two of us vocally, that was in the studio the day of like recording it. So you have to be open to that too.
Just trying stuff
Just
out.
Try things. Yeah.
Open to changes. Yeah. I like that. I think I resonate definitely with like, when do you call it? Has that kind of gone into other facets of your life too? Both of you, I guess, like kind of letting go of that control?
I think so.
I think so too. What I've gotten mostly from Kimberly is I'm a huge procrastinator and she is not. It's been a great life lesson for me. Now I'm just like, I'll just do it right now.
Right.
Kimberly would.
Kimberly's like, you better. Yeah. We're gonna do it right now.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm like
even when she's not around and I'm doing other stuff in my life now.
I'm so proud of you. That's so good. No, I'm just kind of a dog with a bone. Anyone that knows me knows that. I'm very persistent when I want to get something done. So, and it's kind of like that with the music game, because you have to do so many steps to get it all out there. Then you have to you got to figure out how to promote it, and you want to make it perfect and put lots of thought into it. And, just merch and like, you can go down this huge rabbit hole. I mean, especially with the event we put on, that was a lot of detail, a lot of work. It's so fun. And it's so nice to have a partner to do it with. We're very good about like dividing and conquering and, like I had nothing to do with any of this getting set up. This is not my bag.
You got the conference room.
I got the conference room, see? And then she got all the equipment figured out because she's got the filmmaking angle.
Oh my gosh.
We're really good at that kind of divide and conquer. Yeah, I would say.
Working side by side.
And it feels like a business. It feels like it is. I mean, we have an LLC, we have an accountant, we have a bank account. I mean, we are our own little business. And it's been such a great ride.
Yeah.
Never, ever would I have thought in a million years. And then what's so exciting is like every time we set a goal and we kind of work towards something and we hit it, and then and then it just keeps happening, and then it just keeps upping the game. And we're like, we should print vinyl. Okay. Now we have all this vinyl sitting in my basement. Anyone out there would like a vinyl, let me know. For sale. They're going to be like going down, our great grandchildren are going to have vinyl of ours. But
I would love it.
We'll send you one. For sure.
You'll get one.
You get one. But just to I actually got to go to Memphis pressing and actually see where they make I happened to be on a trip down there, and I got to see them make the vinyl. It was so cool to watch the process. And it was just cool. Like, why not? Let's do that. And then now it's okay. Now we're going to do the next album, and now we want to do this. And so, I mean, I can't believe we played with Wilderness. That blows my mind. Yeah. I mean, they were sound checking at her house for that event. I'm just like pinching her. I'm like, can you believe this is happening right now? It's like it's just so beautiful when you envision something and you put your heart and soul into it, and then it actually happens. It's so fun.
It's not just talk at that point. It's actually happening.
You put it out in the universe and just keep working at it. And then voila, here we are. And it was just very surreal.
And I'm a huge manifester. If I want something to happen, I'll say it out loud and I say it into the universe, hoping that it'll come back to me. And so when it comes to the music industries or something, I'm just being so foreign to me. I'm interested. Are there any misconceptions about the music industry or being a part of a label or just different things like that you came across when you started your band and that you've learned along the way?
One thing I will say that we underestimated is just even getting places to have you play there. Like I thought you'd have to have a booking agent. It would be this whole big production. And it's as simple as going on their website, emailing their booking person. Hi, this is my band. This is our website. We'd love to play there. And then boom. Mm-hmm. I didn't know how much control we actually had in our own destiny. I thought we had to have all these connections and we actually have thankfully made so many great connections and developed great relationships in this journey. But if you can hustle, there's a lot of cool things you can do.
I mean, I think, and also for us, maybe we'll manifest a different goal after this conversation. I'm not sure. But our big goal, what we set for ourselves a little while ago was we don't want to be playing at like a dive bar every night. That's just not something we're interested in doing. We want to play when we want to play. We want to play our own music. And so it would be our ideal goal to be an opener for other bands when they come to town, for instance. And so we're still working toward that. But I think just having live local shows is getting us toward that goal. But we have not had a goal of that we want to have a major label, represent us. We're not flying out to LA to meet with agents. Our goal right now is that we wanted to live our lives here in Denver and play for bands when at different venues that we love in Denver. We want to be able to play on those stages, and that would be a way for us to be able to do that. So I wouldn't say we also know a ton about the commercial music business. So I don't know that we're qualified to say. No.
But we've had some funny conversations around like, ooh, what if we do a tour of sorts where we play? Because I've got I obviously went to school in the Midwest with Anna at IU. We have a mutual friend. And and so I thought, wouldn't it be so fun to go play some cities, just for fun? But I think that's the bottom line here is we don't take ourselves seriously, and we're just doing it just to say, oh, we did that. That was fun.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
you genuinely enjoy it, and that's why you're doing it, which I think is so refreshing to hear.
Yeah. I mean, actually, we submitted a song at a conference for consideration for a movie or TV show. So we've done some of that. Just kind of putting irons in the fire and see what happens. But again, not taking ourselves seriously. Like we're going to end up, like you said, in LA looking for agents.
I mean, and that's it. Maybe that'll change, but that's current.
You never know. I'm telling you, in 10 years, I'm going to be like, I had the Honey Empire on my podcast. Look at them. I can't even get a call back.
Oh yeah, I wish.
But I love too how you said, like, just you have to hustle. You didn't realize that you can just reach out to people and boom, your life can change. I think that's just really important for, young people like me or just anyone in general to kind of, take in, because it's so true. Your life is in your hands. So when you said that really resonated with me.
Just knock on doors and just ask. Just ask. All they can
That's
do
all
is
you can do. Oh, yes.
Or ignore you.
I love
or
that. My mom always said that growing up. She was like, because whenever I'd be nervous for anything, a school project or asking at something, she said that all they can say is no. And so that was something I definitely took with me. And so I like to say I try to be a hustler. I slide in those DMs. Yeah, I mean, you all, I just gave you a call. So
I think it's great. That's what, and I always say that's what I want my kids to learn. I think more than anything else, I want them to be scrappy. I want them to never think they're too good for anything. I think they should hustle. They should just go after what they want. Like you said, all they can say is no. So I think that's such a good life lesson. And again, they're seeing us do this.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Although the first time they saw us play was on a rooftop, like right by where the Rockies play.
yes.
Yeah. So as the baseball game was coming out, then we were playing on the rooftop.
Which was horrifying because people in the streets could hear us. Yeah. And this was like 3 or 4 years
this
ago.
Was many years. Only covers at this point.
This was Vine. Yeah.
This was Vine. But it was great because our kids could come for the first time because we'd only been playing at bars around town, and this is a bar restaurant, and it was in the afternoon.
Like a Sunday at 4 or something.
Yeah. So they're sitting in the front, right in front of us.
And I thought they'd be like in awe. Look at our moms. What were they doing?
Killing it.
No.
They were so bored.
They were looking at their phones the whole time.
Well, no, yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Picking a hangnail, and then Joe runs up to you right after.
Can I have your phone? As soon as we stopped singing, he ran up to the stage. I was like, that's nice. But now they're actually back to begging to come see a show. And everywhere we've played in the last year has been 21 and up.
Yeah, they haven't. But I think they're pretty proud of it now. I've been talking to their friends about, my mom's in a band.
We made our girls do a TikTok to one of our songs.
Yes. Oh my gosh. And so how old are your children and how many do you both have? Because I think it depends too, when you were saying, I think it depends on the age. Because maybe when they first saw you, and now they'll have more respect for as they get older.
Yeah. And we line up almost exactly. So we have 2 15-year-old girls one each. We have 1 13-year-old girl each. Mm-hmm. And then you have a 10-year-old boy and I have a 9-year-old boy, right? Is he 11?
He's 11 now,
okay,
but
sorry.
yeah. Okay. But yeah. So I'm like,
really line up. Are they friends too?
Yeah.
I know that was kind of how you guys had originally met.
Yeah. Isn't so? I mean, we actually went on vacation this summer for a week, just our 2 families. It was great. And I think they have appreciation they've all played instruments or, continue to play instruments. So they know how hard it is and they know how much work goes into it. And so, it's kind of kismet how it all kind of came together.
I think it's so cool. My parents have done so many, great things, and I was always so inspired by them. So I know that your children are definitely like, damn, my mom's cool. And I think that will also translate more as they get older and find what really makes them excited. And then they'll be like, wow, my mom found that. And I think that's really cool. So I commend you all for sure. I'm really interested too. This actually just came to me. I don't know why I didn't think this before, but why the names of both your bands? Like, why did you choose Vine? And then why did you choose the Honey Empire?
You want to explain Vine and I'll explain the Honey Empire?
Well, Vine was easy. Vine was because we used to play in Kimberly's house and she lived on Vine Street.
And there were like 4 of us and there were 4 letters and I don't know. And like every band name has been taken. Like there were the Vines, the Vine Street band, remember like all these iterations, but there was no Vine.
Yeah.
So we ended up doing that. And then
very cool.
When we rebranded as an original band, we wanted to get rid of that and find something cooler. And I had just been to a Rainbow Kitten surprise show. Have you ever seen those guys?
I have never, no.
Oh my gosh.
Can you go with that first?
So they sound like, that name sounds so funny and cheesy and whatever, but they're this killer indie rock band. It's not at all what you would expect. And I was like, that is the coolest name ever. And so yet again, with the whiteboard at rehearsal, I'm like, okay, guys, let's start writing words we like, just words that are cool. Right. And Honey and Empire, I think Honey was on the list.
Yeah.
And I was in Costa Rica for a work trip, and was Googling, there's a bar called Liquid Kitty. Anyone who's listening to this who lives in Chicago and lived there in the late 90s has probably been there. It was in Bucktown, and it was a place I loved. Anna and I used to go. And I'm like,
Chicagoans, hopefully are listening. If
yes,
then they tell
Liquid
me they aren't.
But I think it's closed now. But I was like, kitty, it's kind of a naughty word for girls, whatever. So I'm looking up the kitten this, and I saw the Kitten Empire, and I was like, oh, that already exists. But if we swap out kitten for another word, and I started looking at the list of words we liked, and I saw honey. Remember, I called her right away, and I'm like, what about the Honey Empire? It's so great because I'm like, we're two girls with two guys, and empire is a masculine word, and honey's a feminine word, and it's kind of, it's a little sassy.
Oh, I think it's so sassy.
Yeah.
It kind of goes back to like that fierceness.
Yeah. No, it was perfect. And it was a few weeks process of trying to figure out the name. And we knew we needed to find like something that had maybe two words that nobody had ever put in combination before, so we could do the website and and all.
Yeah, that was the biggest challenge. Like, so we have to make sure it's not taken.
Something unique.
And also we wanted, it's got to be a cool logo. And so with the Honey Empire, you've got the icons of like a bee, you've got the crown, like we like the colors that go with it. And so, we had a marketing firm help us develop all of that, and then we were off and running.
You all are seriously so amazing. Where can everyone follow you? Because I'll be listening to you, like I said. I've already been talking to my friends about you.
I mean, anywhere that you listen to music. We're on Apple Music, iTunes, Spotify. What else am I missing? SoundCloud.
Amazon.
It was like YouTube.
TikTok.
Yeah.
TikTok. Do you all make TikToks too?
No. Our girls are very good at it, though.
It's kind of constant in my house.
Yeah. It's actually kind of annoying. But and then we have our website, thehoneyempire.com. Anything else?
And if they're in town, come to a live show.
Yeah.
Look at our website. We'll have, if we have any upcoming shows, we'll be on there.
I haven't been out in a while. And so hopefully Colorado will be the next stop.
Love it.
Yeah, no, that'd be great. I'd love to meet you in person.
I know.
Yes.
Me too.
Thank you so much. You guys are so inspiring. Your music is amazing, and I love to see everything you're doing. So keep it up. And I know we're going to see a lot more from the Honey Empire soon. Where are you going? It's your girl, Taylor. I'm back. Thank you for listening to this episode, and I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. I know you want more, so subscribe to the Tailored to You podcast wherever you listen to podcasts. I also encourage you to make this podcast tailored to you. Visit t2upodcast.com to submit your questions, topics of interest, types of guests, really anything. Just say hi to me. And I hope even your own story, because I'm eager to hear and share it. Let's have some fun. We'll talk soon.